Under the Elan CRM button in the backend database are settings which allow you to control the way in which the Elan Web CRM works. The focus of this video is the CRM User Security. This is one of the only places in the software where security is actually done by individual, not by group. This allows you to set up each sales rep with their own preferences and their own security based on the way in which they work and the way that they need to do business. The user ID needs to be set up already in the database by either typing in the user ID or using the F3 to call a drop-down list. You will have a list of all users available for whom you can assign CRM security. The users can be set up in one of three ways. The controller is someone who would have access to CRM settings, security, user parameters. The manager would not have access to the setup menus, but would be able to view CRM manager menus, which give them the ability to look at the sales and the telephone conversations and to-do items that are being done by others. The sales rep menu is designed for people whose only task is to sell. By setting somebody up at the controller or manager level, the system assumes that they will also have the powers below that. By setting them up at the sales rep level, they would not have the power to move over to the manager or controller's menus, but would be set up as sales reps. The next question asks what the rep is selling. If the rep is only selling print or web advertising, check the advertising box. If they are only selling booth space for exhibitions, check the exhibition box. If they are selling both, check both. You may choose to limit what orders a rep can enter. The system allows you to create groups of publications and websites, and to use these groups to structure security to limit what magazines and websites a sales rep can enter orders in. You may also choose to add all groups here. The user login can be tied to a sales rep ID, or if needed, to multiple IDs. These are the IDs that are used to assign to advertisers and the default in to orders. By tying the rep to these, you'll be able to tie the revenue directly to the rep, and you'll also be able to ensure that the rep can see their own orders and their own proposals on the screens which display that. You may choose to control access to other reps' comments and actions. If the rep is allowed to see comments and actions for all other sales reps, just ensure that the All Sales Rep box is checked. If you wish to limit what the rep can see to specific sales reps, list the rep IDs here. So an F3 drop-down will give you the ability to ensure that you've chosen the correct rep IDs. Next to each name, you will see there are columns that say, can this rep see for this other sales rep notes, actions? Can they enter actions? Can they view emails? Can they view complimentary subscriptions? Can they enter complimentary subscriptions? Can they view proposals? You may set any of these to yes or no, and so limit the viewing and entry ability of each sales rep. The second tab allows you to set some defaults. If the rep works within the United States, you may choose to set a default state which may be a default county or province if they're in Canada. Set the default state, and at any point where a new address is added, the system will simply assume that is the state. The rep can easily overwrite it if this is not accurate. If the rep is also set up a manager, on the manager home screen, they can view the activities for all of the reps to whom they have access on the second screen. You can also default in on the manager screen a group of magazines or websites that they would see immediately at the time of sign-in, giving them a summary of orders. If the rep does not have access to the manager screen, the setting would be irrelevant. Similar settings are also available for exhibition groups if the rep is also a manager selling over a group of exhibitions. Back to the front tab, you'll see we have two buttons at the bottom. The rep summary defaults sets some settings for the main sales rep CRM screen as to what orders should be displayed by default on that screen. In this example, I have limited the magazines and the websites that I see to the ones listed here. You may choose to list all or as few magazines as are relevant to the sales rep. It's especially useful if in your organization there are groups of reps, and each rep may be responsible for one set of products and may not need to see information on other products. The Other Settings tab allows us to add some information which is used in other parts of the software. This area may already have been set up for users so that they have access to other parts of the software. The parts that would be relevant for the CRM part of the system would be the user's time zone, which will control the time at which actions are entered, or the time at which items are scheduled in the future. The home country would default in so that it knows if a mailing is being done or a list of names is being exported, whether the country name should be exported as well. The email address would be used on various emails. The other items below this are not used by CRM. The macros, facts, additional items, and associations are all ignored by CRM. The Elan Web CRM screen is used. You can limit which modules a user may use in Elan Web. This might limit them in a different way in what you're limiting them in the back-end software. You would need to list here all of the modules that are being used by the user. If the sales rep is also set up with an automatic link to their back-end email system, this would allow items which are scheduled on their calendar to also appear in their email calendar. It would allow outgoing emails to be linked into the CRM screens, and it would allow incoming emails for email addresses in the CRM database to be automatically linked to the customers. You may or may not choose to implement this. If you do, select the appropriate type of mail system, enter the mail user ID, the email password, and set the link to active. OK this, you'll have saved the screen, OK the screen before, and that rep will be saved, allowing you to set up another rep before leaving the screen and removing to the setup.